All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're breaking down the latest KeysGuard Night Owl report from October 18th. We're going to spend the next 5 minutes unpacking the biggest threats they're seeing and, more importantly, what it all means for you.
So, the first thing you need to know from this report is that they don't mince words. They're saying threat activity is elevated. That's a nice, professional way of saying the digital world is an absolute minefield right now, with everything from data stealers to major ransomware gangs running wild.
But elevated, what does that really mean in practice? The key isn't just knowing that things are dangerous, it's understanding how they're dangerous. So let's unpack exactly what the report found.
Okay, first up, how are the hackers getting in? We're going to look at their playbook. The report does a great job of laying out the entire life cycle of an attack, from start to finish.
It's basically a 5-stage process. It all starts with initial access, just getting that first foot in the door. Then they move to execution, where they run their malicious code. After that, it's all about persistence, making sure they can survive a reboot. Then they start moving around, lateral movement, to find the good stuff, which leads to the final stage, impact. And that's where they either steal your data or deploy that nasty ransomware.
So how are they getting that initial foot in the door? Well, no surprise here, the report confirms that the #1 way in is still phishing. But, and this is a huge but, we're talking about something way more sophisticated than those old typo-filled emails we used to laugh at.
And this slide just perfectly shows that evolution. You see, our security filters got really good at catching emails with a sketchy Word document attached. So the attackers just changed the game. Now they use techniques like HTML smuggling, which builds the malware right inside your browser, or they'll hide it in a zip file that's inside another zip file. Super sneaky.
Okay, so once they're inside, their next job is to be a ghost. And to do that, they use this incredibly clever tactic called living off the land. They don't bring in their own suspicious tools. No, they use the programs that are already on your computer, things like PowerShell, to do their dirty work. It makes them look just like normal system activity.
Now, one of the biggest threats the report is screaming about is the rise of these commodity stealer malware families like Luma and Redline. This stuff is basically a digital vacuum cleaner. Its one and only job is to suck up all the juicy data stored in your web browser, saved passwords, session cookies, you name it.
And all those stolen credentials, they often lead right here to the main event, ransomware. But the playbook has changed. It is not just about locking your files anymore. Oh no. The new strategy is to steal a copy of your most sensitive data first. That gives them a second way to make you pay. Pay up, or they leak your secrets to the entire world. It's double extortion.
So, who's actually in the crosshairs here? Well, the report makes it clear these attacks are not random. They are highly targeted, with different industries facing very different kinds of threats.
For instance, healthcare is getting absolutely hammered with data theft and extortion. Makes sense, right? That data is super sensitive. For manufacturing, the nightmare scenario is an attacker jumping from the IT network into the systems that run the actual factory floor. And in education, it's just a constant flood of phishing scams, disguised as messages about tuition or payroll.
Okay, I know it all sounds pretty grim, but here's the good news. The report is full of clear, actionable advice. This isn't just theory. It is literally a do this today checklist for building up your defenses. Let's dig into the highlights.
First and foremost, the report says you have to defend your identity, especially in the cloud. Remember those info stealers grabbing access tokens? This is the countermove. You got to revoke old tokens, demand modern, phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, and take a hard look at every single third-party app that has access to your environment. Next up, lock down that network perimeter. Why? Because attackers love easy wins. Unpatched VPNs, file transfer tools, that's like leaving the front door wide open for them. The advice is simple. Patch everything that touches the internet right now and start blocking high-risk email attachments like HTML files and shortcuts.
And this part right here, this is absolutely critical. You have to harden your backups. The ransomware crews know that your backups are your only escape hatch, so they go after them directly. It's not enough to just have a backup anymore. You need to know that it's immutable, meaning it can't be changed or deleted, and you absolutely have to test your ability to restore from it.
So after all that detail, what's the big picture? What's the one single trend that you really need to understand from this whole report? Let's go to the final section and see how it all ties together.
KeysGuard actually scores the threats they're tracking. And, would you look at that, At the very top of the risk list are the ransomware operators who focus on stealing data. And right on their heels, the massive ecosystem of info stealers like Luma and Redline that are basically fueling those bigger attacks.
And that brings us to the core message of the entire report. The most successful, most damaging attacks are not some kind of complex, secret magic. It's the opposite. Attackers are winning with speed and simplicity. They're going after the basics. Systems that are missing patches, credentials that have been stolen, and backups that are not configured correctly.
So really, this whole KeysGuard report is a call to action. It asks a pretty simple question. In a world where the threats are moving at lightning speed every single day, is your defense keeping up, or is it standing still?